Good evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Grant Olson is away tonight for a much-deserved three-day weekend. I'm Jefferson Robbins. We've got a lot of news coming at you to wrap up your week, but first let's take a quick look outside our weather window at the beautiful Wenatchee Valley. They don't come much prettier on a hot summer afternoon. Another clear and scenic summer day in the Wenatchee Valley. Today's temperatures were in the mid-90s as usual. I don't think it felt quite like it, though. We got a little breeze keeping the air in motion today. Forecasts are calling for the heat to moderate a little bit over the weekend, maybe sticking below 90 for a day, maybe two, before the heat comes roaring back over 100 starting next week. Dan Kuntz is doing double duty tonight on both sports and weather, so he'll be along a little bit later with the complete local forecast. But first, a couple of the stories that we are following for you tonight. A Cashmere City Council member has awaited trial for 3 years on a felony charge of stalking his former spouse. Now he's entered a plea agreement. It's day 2 for fires burning above Lake Wenatchee after thunderstorms ignited the dry forest lands early yesterday, and low-level evacuation notices have gone out for residents of one area. Meanwhile, another major blaze in rural Douglas County is getting close to full containment. But first, our top story tonight. Employees at the City of Wenatchee can expect a mid-year cost of living increase in their paycheck starting next month. The 5% increases approved unanimously last night by the Wenatchee City Council apply to all city workers, including police, and they're retroactive to August 1st. It's a response to recent inflation, including rising costs of rent and consumer goods. Mayor Frank Kuntz says the city also risks losing good employees to outside recruiters.
Our employees are, getting contacted pretty regularly from headhunters and others trying to hire some of our best employees from us. And so, not that we can prevent that always with money, but on the same token, we need to be competitive.
I'm for giving this bump, but I think we, for the future, need to look at ways to offset that, because we're good right now, but it wasn't that many years ago when we were struggling to keep our doors open.
We have the best of the best. We have great staff here. They do an amazing job. They are all highly motivated, and I can't say that enough. I really appreciate what everyone does. And furthermore, it's going to cost you far more money to replace them and train them and bring that person up to the skill level that they need to be at than it will be to give them this raise now.
Well, a Cashmere City Council member has pleaded guilty to a charge of harassment against his former wife, avoiding a more serious count of felony stalking. 51-year-old Derek W. Pratt has been on the Cashmere City Council since 2016. 3 years ago, he was arrested by East Wenatchee police for allegedly placing a tracking device on his then-wife's vehicle and following her to another person's house while armed with a handgun. Pratt's lawyer, Brandon Radall, told NCWLIFE the Cashmere Council member faced at least 42 months in prison if convicted on the stalking charge. And Pratt entered the misdemeanor plea in district court on Wednesday to avoid that possibility. He'll now be placed on probation for 24 months and serve no jail time. Pratt and his spouse were in the midst of an acrimonious divorce at the time of his arrest. His former wife pleaded guilty to fourth-degree assault and malicious mischief stemming from an earlier domestic violence incident in their home and was sentenced to 15 days in jail. Pratt's term on the Cashmere City Council runs until December 2023. Well, a pair of lightning-sparked fires reported early Thursday morning in the mountains above Lake Wenatchee showed significant growth overnight, and firefighters responded to 5 more high mountain fires in the region Thursday afternoon and evening. The 2 fires visible from Lake Wenatchee State Park were the largest thus far, with the Irving Peak Fire growing to 35 acres and the White River Fire at 20 acres. That's the White River Fire you see on your screen right now from the Local-Tel Sky-Fi camera in the vicinity. The U.S. Forest Service said the Irving Peak Fire is in steep, inaccessible terrain. Hotshot crews, rappellers, and a dozer are battling the White River Fire, and the Chelan County Sheriff's Office has issued a Level 1 alert for residents along Sears Creek Road. Lightning in the area Wednesday evening is also believed to be responsible for fires on Wenatchee Ridge in the Soda Springs area, Phelps Ridge and Buck Creek west of Lake Chelan, and Roaring Ridge south of Ardenbois. All 5 of those fires were reported at under an acre as of this morning. The U.S. Forest Service said there were more than 2,700 lightning strikes that started at least 12 fires in the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest alone. Meanwhile, over in Douglas County, the evacuation notices were lowered to level 1 Thursday evening in areas near the Moore fire, as firefighters near full containment of the blaze. As of this morning, the fire had burned about 6,500 acres after first being reported Monday in the Douglas Creek area southeast of Waterville. The interagency incident management team assigned to the fire was expected to hand over command of the firefighting effort to local agencies today. The fire, which threatened property in the Rimrock, Meadows, and Douglas Creek areas, burned in grass as tall as 2.5 feet, as well as both brush and wheat. Now you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. When we come back, the Grant County PUD ponders how to address erosion in the riverbanks around Wanapum Dam. And a youth camp at Confluence Health lets Wenatchee Valley students explore possible careers in the medical field. I'm Jefferson Robbins, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
I'm John Divis from Wenatchee Dental Arts, and I like to think myself as a comprehensive dentist. We are an office that treats people comprehensively for their dental problems. We do a lot of general dentistry in a broad sense. We don't send everything out. Things that we have the ability to do in the office, we like to keep in the office and under one roof and keep things as complication-free as possible. You can come to one place and have all their dental needs taken care of.
Introducing Alpine Airman. Because every home needs a superhero to eliminate poor indoor air quality, send inefficient operating equipment packing, and cut high energy bills down to size. For heating or cooling and equipment replacement, turn to the experts and the superheroes at Carrier and Alpine Air. We offer the best deals on high-efficiency Carrier products, along with friendly, knowledgeable service and incredible savings to fit your budget.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Grant County PUD commissioners are considering a possible contract to study erosion problems around Wanapum Dam. The proposed 10-year, $15 million contract with engineering firm Gannett Fleming would analyze and design any repairs needed to address embankment erosion around the hydropower dam. Internal erosion was identified as a potential cause for failure when the PUD held an in-depth dam safety inspection in 2021. The embankment connects the concrete portion of the dam to the shoreline. The evaluation could include drilling holes to assess the embankment's stability. Commissioners are scheduled to vote on the proposed contract on August 23rd. Now, gas prices in north central Washington continue to fall after reaching historic highs this summer, but we're still paying more than most other areas in the country. AAA reported today that the average price for a gallon of regular unleaded gas nationwide has fallen below $4 a gallon for the first time since early March. Friday's national average was at $3.97 a gallon, but in Washington state, the average price is $4.81 a gallon, which is down 10 cents from a week ago. AAA said the average price per gallon in Wenatchee specifically is at $4.56 a gallon and $4.81 per gallon in Chelan County as a whole. Gas prices have been declining since peaking at $5.44 a gallon in Wenatchee on June 17th. A Cascadia Conservation District wants your photos from the great outdoors of Chelan County. The contest to fill the district's annual calendar is still seeking submissions for its 2023 edition, with applications remaining open until October 1st. Photo entries are accepted in 6 categories, including plants, wildlife, agriculture, recreation, landscapes, and water. 2 winning photos from each category will be chosen for inclusion in the 2023 stewardship calendar. You could submit your photos online at the district's website, cascadiacd.org. There are still copies of the 2022 calendar available at Cascadia's office on Mission Street. Well, a youth camp organized through Confluence Health has been helping students explore future careers in medicine since 2016. The Caring Student Interns Camp, or CSI, recently completed its first camp event since the COVID-19 pandemic began in 2020. Students from throughout the Wenatchee Valley worked with Confluence Health teams to study the full range of medical job fields, from radiology to nursing to emergency response. Organ dissection classes helped the kids find their way around the human body. About 24 students attended this year, the largest cohort since CSI was established. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, a look back at a woman who made a difference when the Wenatchee Valley was suffering from a very different public health crisis. Dan Kuntz will be here with weather and the complete look at sports in the Wenatchee Valley and beyond. That's all coming up on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
I'm John Volan, and I'm running for judge here in Chelan County. For more than 20 years, I've upheld the rights of the local community as an attorney, trial lawyer, and part-time judge. This fall, I'm running for district court judge. I'm highly endorsed by the legal and local communities for my thorough, fair-minded, and just approach. I'm the only candidate with civil, criminal experience, but experience as a judge as well. This fall, vote John Volan for Chelan County District Court Judge.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. We learned this week of the death of Carmen Louise Bossenbrock, who was 94 years old. Carmen was laid to rest this week. She was a Dryden orchardist and a physical therapist who became a central figure in battling the Wenatchee Valley polio epidemic of the 1950s and 60s. In her retirement, she was an energetic member of the Wenatchee Rotary, which has led an international campaign to eradicate polio. Ms. Bossenbrock was also one of the first people I interviewed for NCWLIFE back in 2019. Here's a portion of that story. Graduating in 1953, Carmen found herself in the midst of a polio outbreak.
Mother was keeping me informed about the polio cases, and when I graduated, I started working with Bill Smith, who was the physical therapist at the Deaconess Hospital. And so I got in the thick of working with polio patients, as well as when he left in about 55. I was the only physical therapist then between Seattle, Spokane, the Canadian border, and Yakima. And that was a busy time. My license number is 134. 134. And I'm sure it's over 12,000 now.
The hospital worked to recruit as many students as they could to enroll and train in physical therapy programs. Physical therapy is a key to polio recovery. The virus weakens and paralyzes limbs, and without stimulation and exercise, the immobility can become permanent. Carmen treated hundreds of patients, most of them children. Soon the patients kept coming, with another surge of polio breakouts in the early 60s, and Carmen was exhausted.
I never counted. I never checked in or out. I just worked. Sometimes I stayed overnight while pushing 2 treatment tables together. And it was a busy time.
Carmen found she needed therapy herself and began using her time in the orchard as a break from her work at the hospital. The property she shares with her brother Bill has trees dating to 110 years old, and this year produced the best crop she's ever seen. The work in the orchard was much needed, she says, because at the hospital, the epidemic was hitting hard.
In 1963, I was so tired from working so hard with no help that I almost felt like I didn't want to touch another patient, and then my uncle offered to sell the place to me, and That was the best therapy I had, was working in the orchard. That was weekends and evenings and so on. That was my therapy. I talked to the trees. The orchard is my church, you know.
And a good Friday, another warm one. Dan Coons filling in for our good friend Grant Olson, taking a well-deserved 3-day weekend. Before we get into the forecast, let's take a look at this beautiful view from the Jump-Off Ridge area. In fact, there's my house right there, and it's where Cal lives, and Grant and Eric live up there, and Tucker lives there, and there's my house. Thought we'd point that out. Another warm day today, 92, a couple of degrees above normal, but we're going to be in for a nice little cool down just in time for the weekend. Almost downright pleasant, but wait till we get to next week. You see that record high of 103? That 103 is coming back come Wednesday and Thursday of next week, as we're going to have an amplified ridge, a high pressure. And look how much shorter the days are getting. We're losing about 2 minutes of daylight a day. In fact, sunrise will be after 6 o'clock by Tuesday of next week, but we've still got a lot of summer to go. All right, let's look at the high temperatures for tomorrow. As usual, we start out in the Columbia Basin. Again, everybody's going to be a good few degrees cooler, upwards of maybe 10 degrees cooler than they had today. 88 tomorrow in Moses Lake, 88 in Ephrata. Quincy maybe a degree warmer. Ellensburg a little windy tomorrow, big surprise there. Here in the valley, 87, 86 in Cashmere. Very pleasant day up at Lake Wenatchee at 84. Speaking of Lake Wenatchee, a little windy tonight, a little windy tomorrow. Remember, they have those spot fires in the foothills above the Two Rivers drainage. We'll keep a very close eye on that over the weekend. Hopefully nothing will blow up. So what are we looking at? See that little ridge of high pressure? That's the last ridge that's left over from what we've had with the warm weather and the unstable weather. We notice how high the relative humidities have been. It's almost muggy for the Wenatchee Valley. That's not going to be the case as we start drying out. The big thing we're looking on is a little bit of wind. Now tomorrow we're going to have a nice little cool front that's going to come in, going to make everything nice and temperate, but it's going to pick up those winds a little bit tonight, spilling into Saturday. But Saturday looks very nice. Sunday we start seeing this baby, and this sucker is just going to start amplifying big time by the time we get to Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're going to have nothing but a lot of heat. See how much bigger that thing got. See those little gradients tightening up a little bit? Just a couple of rogue gust winds, but for the most part, the winds really aren't going to be the issue once we get to Saturday afternoon, and then it's just going to get warmer and warmer and warmer still. We're looking really good at approaching a record high on Tuesday, and right now, if this forecast holds true come Wednesday and Thursday, a definite opportunity for record high temperatures for those 2 days, especially Wednesday of next week, as that high pressure ridge really starts to tighten up and centering right over eastern Washington. It's going to be a warm one for everybody, and that includes the Puget Sound area. So if you don't like the heat, there's no escaping it for most of next week. Again, it really gets going on Tuesday, and then by Wednesday, Thursday, and probably right on into Friday. Even though that high pressure ridge is getting smaller and smaller, there's really nothing out there to bump it out of the way or cool us down. So whatever cool downs we have towards the last part of next week and into the weekend is going to be gradual, to say the least. All right, one more time. Your forecast, 92 today, just a few degrees above normal. Again, windy this afternoon, windy tonight, keeping a close eye on the fires. Hopefully it won't kick up any up in the Lake Wenatchee area. 62 for the overnight low tonight. Saturday night might be a good day to shut down your air conditioning. If you're like my air conditioning, it's been running for a month nonstop. Look at that overnight low on Saturday night with an overnight low of 59. Turn off the AC, open up the windows, air out the house, because you're going to need that AC by the middle of next week. Again, record high temperatures, a distinct possibility, close to it on Tuesday. I think right now by Wednesday and Thursday, with this big heat wave coming again for the middle of August, we're looking at record-breaking high temperatures both Wednesday and Thursday, not only for the Wenatchee Valley, but almost all of our viewing area. That is your forecast. Still to come, I got some sports coming your way and more with our good friend Jefferson Robbins. You're watching a Friday edition of the NCWLIFE Evening News.
We got things coming our way that we've never faced before. Under the current conditions, the storm's going to continue to get stronger and stronger. Now's not the time to take a step back. Now's not the time to be soft. Now's the time to drive us in the right direction to protect our communities. The team that surrounds myself is the team to take you into the future.
At Click It RV, we're overstocked on inventory and need to make room for brand new models on our lot. Between our 4 locations in Spokane, Tri-Cities, Moses Lake, and Milton Freewater, we have hundreds of travel trailers, fifth wheels, and RVs that have to go. With low payments, 0 down, and no payments for 90 days, you'll want to hurry in today while the best floor plans are still available. Come check out the Overstock Liquidation Sale, going on now at Click It RV.
It has really been a great partnership between Succession and NCWLIFE. It's not always easy to sit in front of a camera or a microphone, but you guys have made it a really nice process.
It's a little scary at first, right? You're just throwing money out there hoping it comes back. And to see those results come back through and see people walk through the door and say, hey, saw your TV advertisement. Those are the kinds of things that you see the return on. And when you look at the cost spent, you know you're making a return on it. NCWLIFE really does a great job of exposing our brand and Succession wines to North Central Washington. There's a huge market here and market potential that NCWLIFE is able to help us capture, spread who we are, and tell the world about what Succession does, and they are a great avenue for that.
Hi, I'm Kerry Condata, host of the 12th District TV show right here on the NCWLIFE channel. We're available 5 times a week on air and also at ncwlife.com streaming. You can even find our archives for older shows. We cover business and politics like nobody else. From an insider's perspective, someone who's been self-employed for 30 years and in the legislature for 16 years. You'll get it all right here every week on the 12th District. Won't you join us?
News, weather, and sports. It's all here weekdays at 5, 6, and 10 on your local news source, the NCWLIFE channel.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel. Happy Friday, sports fans. Dan Kuntz, of course, filling in for Eric Granstrom. Mariners are in Arlington, Texas. They start a 3-game series against the Rangers tonight. Their 7-game homestand at T-Mobile Park came to an end. They didn't do too bad. 4 wins, 3 losses. George Kirby gets the start tonight, and Texas will go with the big right-hander Josh Sabor's first pitch at Globe Life Field just took place a couple of minutes ago. You can watch the game on Root Sports Northwest. Please don't. We need the ratings. The Rangers are coming off a 7-3 loss to Houston, by the way, yesterday. Martin Maldonado and Alex Bregman each had home runs for the Astros. So Seattle trails the Astros by 11 games in the American League West. Texas and L.A. are within a half game of one another. The top 3 in the American League wildcard standings didn't play yesterday, so no real movement there. It was Thursday, not a lot of activity in Major League Baseball. Baltimore, however, they did lose to the Red Sox 4-3, so the Orioles are now a half game back of the Rays. Minnesota, they were idle. They remain a game back. Chicago dropped 3 games back after their 5-3 loss to Kansas City. Corvallis has punched their ticket to the next round of the WCL playoffs. It didn't look like it for a while, but they did it. They came away with a 5-0 win to take their semifinal series against the Pippins, 2-1. Ethan Ross and a couple of relievers combined on a 2-hit shutout, so the Pippins season comes to an end. Tanner Smith led the Knights offensively. He went 2 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBIs. Wenatchee, of course, will be in Bellingham tomorrow night to take on the Bells for the North Division Championship. First pitch is at 6:35. The Bells and the Apple Sox played 6 games against each other during the regular season. Bellingham won all of them. But guess what? Mitch Darlington and Quincy Vassar says, this is a different team. We're going to be different come tomorrow night.
Yeah, we got some unfinished business with them. They took us for 6 straight earlier in the season. So, I mean, that's exactly who we want to play. That's why I wanted to win that game over there so we can get another shot at those guys, and we're going to be ready this time.
Yeah, we're going to be ready to go. Honestly, this time of year, looking at the Bells roster, looking at our roster, it's amazing how the difference is. You know, a lot of those guys aren't here anymore, but they still got some phenomenal players. It's going to be a tough game Friday night, but we're going to be ready to go.
Corvallis will be hosting Richfield for the South Division Championship, and then the winners of Saturday's games will meet at the highest remaining seed for the West Coast League Championship. That's Monday at 6:35. Listen to the Apple Sox tomorrow night with their good buddy Storm and Joel Norman on Sunny FM. The Seahawks tomorrow get a chance to hit somebody who's not their own teammate. They'll be in Steel City to take on Pittsburgh. The first of the exhibition season will be underway. They fly out today, 4 o'clock television on King 5. The most intriguing question in training camp, starting quarterback. Is it going to be Drew Lock? Is it going to be Geno Smith? Pete Carroll is saying nothing.
Yeah, they know what's going on, and you guys will see. But we got a plan. We'll roll with the game a little bit, to make sure that the opportunities, we can maximize them. But those guys will play quite a bit. There's a lot of things that can happen when we go out there. We just got to wait and see, and we'll put it together. We'd love to see the guys execute, and they've done really well in the practice field. We'd love to see it carry over, just like I'm talking about. But then, in the quarterback position, there's opportunities, and if there's opportunities are there, how do they seize them? Do they come through and make the play and, make the big throw in the red zone, or maybe it's in third down or whatever it is, or, hit somebody that's open deep? We'll just have to wait and see, and then we just add them up.
Does that make this? I was going to say, does that make this a little bit of a different preseason, how you approach it, because you do have a quarterback competition? I mean, obviously, it hasn't happened.
Well, it's like we've done it in the past. We've done it before like this, and we just have to gather and gain more information. So they're going to get more of an opportunity to play.
Coach Carroll says it's a lot more than X's and O's when the coaches observe the team during preseason. There's travel, there's execution, all that stuff.
We understand, and we go through camping and practice here. We get great tempo and speed and all that, but it's not the same thing when you finally crank it up and go. And we got to make that next step and introduce our guys, to full speed football, and the young guys to getting on the NFL field and realizing that it's just football. And there's a lot of stuff that we have to accomplish. We have nothing to do with how we play and all that. It's just kind of getting through the process and all. Traveling is really important, and teach them how to travel. This East Coast, West Coast, East Coast trip has been something that we've really taken a lot of consideration in how we do it, and we've been successful at it. And I think that there's a lot to understanding the rhythms and all that, so we're going to practice it. That's why we're leaving early, and we want to be right from when the time comes.
Our own Eric Granstrom is in Pittsburgh as we speak. He produces the Seahawks radio broadcast for the preseason. We're going to have a full video recap from Eric on Monday right here on the NCWLIFE channel. Back-to-back weekends of racing at Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval. It begins tomorrow night. They're calling it the Columbia River Throwdown, whatever that is. Jerry's Auto Supply late models, the Dixie and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars, the Angel Bell Bonds Bandoleros, and the WMRA Midgets. Gates open at 4:30. Racing starts at 6. And good news, if you like to play pickleball and can't find any courts, 2 of the 4 tennis courts at Walla Walla Point Park are going to be converted into 6 new pickleball courts. The newly minted official state sport of Washington has exploded in popularity in recent years. That means the demand for public courts is up. It's a $228,000 project. It begins Monday, and that means that the tennis courts at Walla Walla Point Park will be closed while they do this. By the way, almost all of the Chelan County PUD parks have at least one pickleball court. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. Have a safe and fun weekend. Jefferson, back to you.
Thank you to my good friend Dan Kuntz. Now let's check in with my good friend Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up Monday morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
Thanks, Jefferson. I hope everybody has a good weekend. As you just saw, the weather forecast looks just about perfect for this time of the year. We'll come back and join us on Monday. We'll get your week going with your latest news, your latest weather forecast, also sports. We'll find out how the Wenatchee Apple Sox did in their quest for a WCL championship. We'll wrap up the Mariners in their 3-game series against the Rangers. And, of course, our very own Eric Granstrom will be reporting from the Steel City for the first of the Seahawks preseason games. So we invite you to have a great weekend. Take us along this weekend wherever you go. We're portable. And we'll see you on Monday, live at 7 a.m. JR, back to you.
And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, find us on Facebook or on our website, ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. Send us an email, news@ncwlife, or give us a call, 888-NCWL. That's 888-6295. I'm Jefferson Robbins. Grant Olson will be back here with you on Monday night. Thanks for being with us, and have a great weekend.
Be sure to tune in each weeknight for sports during the NCWLIFE Evening News. If it's the Mariners, the Seahawks, or any of our local teams, I'll be sure to cover the latest right here on the NCWLIFE channel.